If you're a mom entrepreneur or if you're thinking about starting a business and you're wondering if you should be adding more to your plate, then stop everything and listen up. Because answering these 6 questions will make decision making as a mom way easier. And you're gonna wanna answer a big heck yes to these 6 questions before you even think about adding more to your already overfull plate. Hey there, if you're new here, I'm Lindsay and I'm committed to creating a space online that supports driven but stalled out moms navigate this crazy cuckoo but insanely fun world of growing children and businesses at the same time. Here on my channel, you'll find mindset shifts, inspiration hacks, and strategies to help you start or scale your business as a mom, find balance, and show up to your family in big intentional ways, even if you only have micro moments of free time in your day. So make sure to subscribe below and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when my next video goes live. Okay, so this video goes out to all those mamas out there who are doers, people pleasers, or take on way too much at a time entrepreneurs. If you're looking to add more to your plate, but you struggle with burnout, or knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to, then this video is for you. Because today I'm diving into these 6 questions you absolutely should be answering before ever thinking about adding another to-do to your plate. And just a heads up, no one ever thinks of number 4. Be sure to stick around for that one. Let's get into it. First up, if you're thinking about maybe saying yes to after-school activities or holiday events or work projects, trips, or even lunch out with a friend, the first thing you'll want to ask yourself is this: do you want or desire to do this? Now, I know this may seem obvious, but hear me out for a second. So often we say yes to things that we actually don't really want to do, and we rationalize it because we think we have no other choice, or that it's serving someone else's needs. And while that may be true, the first place to start is getting clearer on what you want and desire. Because I truly believe that living a life of balance and purpose and fulfillment, and a life that is your unique vision, starts with your own wants and desires. Now listen, that doesn't mean every single thing you ever say yes to needs to be a desire on your list. And how much we desire to do something can exist on a scale from I sort of kind of want to do it to heck yes, I want to do this with all my heart. And I realize life is about balance, and sometimes we say yes to things to please other people, and that's not inherently bad. The point is, we need to be at least aware of what our desire level is for the particular activity we're thinking about adding to our plate. And here's the thing, the more you start saying yes from a place of desire and no if you don't want to do something, the more freedom and ease and excitement you'll begin to feel in your life, and the less resentment, burnout, and boredom you'll be grappling with. So let's move on to the next one, number 2. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much does this excite you? Now, I realize this might sound really familiar to the first one, but hang on a second. Because wanting to do something to fulfill a need can feel one way, like I want to take my kids to after-school activities because they enjoy it. And being wholeheartedly excited about something can feel entirely different, like being really freaking excited to start your own business. Wanting something and being excited by something can be different. So it's worth its very own spot on my list of questions. So ask yourself, how excited am I about doing this task or participating in this activity? And again, it can exist on a scale of 1 to 10. The idea here is to tune in to any residual resentment or low energy you might have about the task or activity before just rapidly saying yes to something as a knee-jerk reaction. Okay, let's move on to the next one, number 3. Whose needs or wants does it fulfill? And how much? But honestly, a lot of times we say yes to things as a knee-jerk reaction instead of really looking at why we're saying yes to something, whose needs we're actually meeting when we say yes, because it usually isn't our own. And being aware of whose needs we're trying to meet can make us aware of any imbalances that exist when it comes to making sure everyone in our family or our social circles are being equally met. And that includes your own. If you find that you're constantly saying yes to things that are perpetually meeting other people's needs, then this is a red flag that you are way out of balance. Listen, it's great to say yes to extra kids activities because they want to play soccer and ballet. It's great to say yes to the volunteer event at school because the school has a need. It's great to say yes to the husband's request to attend his work Christmas party because he wants to go or maybe he needs to go. But when are you saying yes to your own needs? Because they matter just as much. And it's not that we don't know this on some level, it's just that all too often we are unaware of this insane imbalance because we reflexively say yes without slowing down and thinking it through. If we made it our mission to think of every single one of our yeses as a rock that we have to put on a scale, each time we said yes to meet someone else's needs, it goes on one side. And each time we say yes to meet our own needs, it goes on the other side. And we radically committed to keeping that scale as balanced as possible. How would that change our decision making? It's something to think about. Next up, and this is a big one, number 4. What is the cost of saying yes? And let me tell you, there's always a cost. And a lot of times we moms fail to acknowledge this in our full awareness. and then we silently overcompensate to deal with the hidden costs, which is simply a recipe for disaster. So let me explain with a story. So there was a time in our lives where my husband wanted to travel with the kids quite often, and thinking we were so privileged to be able to travel, coupled with the fact that it was a huge life priority for him to travel, and I wanted to meet his needs and his desires, plus the dreamy idea of thinking how wonderful it would be to travel frequently with kids. All of this led me to saying yes a lot. And yes, I am extremely privileged to be able to travel frequently. But remember what I just said. There's always a cost to saying yes. And I was failing to acknowledge what that was. And no, I'm not talking about the money aspect of it. You see, every time we would get back from these trips, the next week would be utter chaos. We'd be behind on laundry, we'd have no groceries, suitcases were left unpacked for weeks, fridge full of old food to be cleaned out, routines out of whack, the whole nine. And my husband was traveling for his job at the time, so oftentimes he would leave and I would be left to clean up the mess, so to speak. The fact that we would come home to a bit of chaos at that time was a cost that didn't really affect him, it only really affected me. And I silently overcompensated by catching up the following week, which would leave me utterly exhausted and resentful and dreading the next time we went out of town. And yet I kept saying yes. Luckily, at one point, I brought my awareness to this very real cost of traveling, and fast forward to today, and I now make very different decisions. We still travel, but with more intention, and I also get varying levels of support to offset this cost of us traveling frequently. The point is being keenly aware of all the emotional and physical, and yes, sometimes monetary cost of saying yes. And this will allow us to be better at decision making and making decisions from a genuine place of wanting to say yes without overcompensating in the background. The point is being keenly aware of all the emotional and physical and yes, sometimes monetary cost of saying yes will better allow you to make a decision based on your genuine ability to say yes with no silent overcompensating happening in the background. Okay, next question you should be asking yourself before you add anything else to your already full plate. Number 5, does it align with my top 3 to 5 values? So for this question to work, you've got to know what your top 3 to 5 values are. But knowing what your values are is absolutely useless if you don't make decisions that's in alignment with those values. And that's the part that I think most people miss. It's great fun to pick from a long list of values and dream about your future life and how much your life will be different now that you've clarified your values. But then the day-to-day sets in and suddenly you're operating on autopilot, letting everyone else's needs and opinions construct your day and life. And then we complain that we don't have time to do the things that are in alignment with our values. We don't have time to work out. We don't have time to spend time in nature. We don't have time to do X, Y, Z. Now I realize we don't live in some perfect world, and the reality is here, sometimes we're in survival mode and not every single decision we make will be in total and full alignment with our values. That's just life. But I think we all too often use survival mode as an excuse to not do the hard work of saying no to things, having the discipline to show up to our dream life and live our values. Let me give you an example. If you have a value of freedom or following your passion, but then you say yes to every Saturday birthday party or social event, when that's one of the only times that you have to work on your business, because that's when your partner is home to watch the kids, then you're living out of alignment. And here's the cold, hard truth. You don't get to blame a lack of time. You instead need to look at your lack of aligned decision making. Yes, it can be so hard to say no to social obligations and kid birthday parties and anniversary parties. And I'm certainly not saying you should always say no, far from it. I'm always advocating for balance here. But the reality is, if you're constantly making decisions that are at odds with your values, then that responsibility lies on you, not on others or your lack of time. Whew. That was a heavy one. Next up, and the final question you should be asking yourself before you take on one more single thing, mama. Number 6, is this taking you in the direction you want to go? This one is a bit similar to the first one, but it's more fine-tuned. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a value of following your passion, so you start a web design business. Congrats, woohoo! At first, you take on each and every client and you try to build your business. But then, as time goes on, you realize that the only clients you really want to work with are women-owned business owners. Great. So now it's time to put it into action with your decision making. If the next client that walks through the door is a male business owner selling cologne, gotta ask yourself, is this taking me in the direction I want to go? No? Okay, then maybe it's time to say no. Here's another example, after school activities. Is saying yes to more after school activities taking me in the direction I want to go? If the direction is more family fun, engaging with other parents, and enjoying, say, going to baseball games on the weekends, great, it's a yes. If you want to go the direction of maybe simpler, less busy weeknights and more family dinners, lazy Saturday mornings, then no, it's probably not going to take you in the direction you want to go. So hopefully you see by now, adding more to your plate out of a default knee-jerk reaction to say yes is a recipe for creating a life of burnout, overwhelm, and stress. But by bringing our awareness to these 6 questions, we're able to not only answer from a place of authentic desire, but a place of radical responsibility for creating and intentionally designing the life we want to live and how we want to feel. So there you have it. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you like this content, hit the thumbs up button and let YouTube know you found this content valuable. And it'll help get this video shown to more moms who are seeking balance and ease in scaling their business while growing their families. Until next time, stay happy, stay balanced, and if that fails, just keep swimming. Until next time.